Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome everybody to my Wednesday edition of my Facebook Lives. As you all probably remember, because I've mentioned it like 4 other times this month, but this is October, so we are going to be talking about alternate financing. It's my pun on alternate financing. Yes, there's mortgages. Yes, there's car loans, but what else is there? What other kind of options do you have rather than going into those different things? So, my guest today is Mr. Brian Sowl with Nelnet. And hello, Brian.
Hello, BK. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I'm really, really looking forward to what you have to say. It should be absolutely fantastic. So, why don't you take a couple minutes, tell everyone just a little bit about yourself, how you got to Nelnet, how long you've been with Nelnet, because I think that that's a huge selling point. Obviously, I know the answer, but nobody else does. So, and then you also have to answer my very favorite question, which is you have to tell us something not a lot of people know about you.
All right, sounds good. Well, so I'm actually a Colorado native. I know that that's a little bit more rare to some individuals, but I had the opportunity to be both born and raised and still live in Aurora, Colorado. The path that I took was after graduating from Colorado State University, I went to Accenture and worked in the consulting industry for about 5 years. At that point in time, I was looking at how I could really connect with a singular company rather than just helping a number of organizations at different times. Was looking for a way that I could have a little bit more of a long-term relationship. Some of you that are knowledgeable about the consulting world, you come in, you're there for a little while, you leave, you go to the next client, and it's just wash, rinse, and repeat, and never really build a lot of those long-term connections as well as see the results long-term. You know where you thought things were going to be, but you're never there long enough to know where they actually end up. So that drove me to want to find another organization. That organization that I connected the best with was Nelnet. Nelnet is a student loan servicer as our primary business. We service loans for the Department of Education. We have about 13 million customers that we support for their student loan servicing with the Department of Ed. So that is the largest part of our business. And in the organization, we have a diversification. We focus on different areas. One of those areas is the kindergarten through 12th grade space, primarily with the private schools. And we offer a number of services that the main focus is tuition payment. A lot of your private schools don't have the infrastructure to allow for parents to be able to make payments at different times, not have to just do a lump sum. So we have about 6,000 schools in the K through 12 space, primarily in the religious area, where we are offering that payment support option for their customers. And so that's a large line of business that we have and really keeps us in that K through 12 area. Another primary business that we have is a little bit diversified from maybe what you would expect from a company that's primarily student loan servicing. The name of that organization is Allo. Allo is a fiber optics company that provides internet as well as TV and phone to a number of areas. The organization started in Nebraska, in Imperial, Nebraska, and we support Grand Island. Our largest city is going to be Lincoln, Nebraska. We have infrastructure in Omaha, and now we have a Colorado presence. So we recently won the contract for Greeley, and we will be the internet provider for Greeley, Colorado. We already have Breckenridge, Loveland, and Vail that we are the internet provider for. We also have Fort Morgan that we're the internet provider for. And the premise behind that organization and why it does connect to Nelnet is that what has been identified as the single most important tool to help an individual from an educational perspective is access to information. And the reality is the internet is the largest provider of information to individuals. And when you are in a rural community, you don't have high-speed internet. What BK is doing right now is scrolling a website, and he has no lag, and he's able to get information rapidly at his fingertips. In some rural communities, they are utilizing satellite, or they're using dial-up or other internet mechanisms that literally have lag that cause there to be a lack of desire to wait for the information to be provided to you. We are in a society where individuals want information rapidly. So that was the connection to Nelnet. The product, the internet, high-speed internet, being a 1 gig service, That's the only service that we do. So other companies will offer much lower speeds. We have a 1 gig up and 1 gig down, both directions. It's actually pretty rare as well. But that is allowing so let me connect the dots now. I referenced that is a tool that we know is the single largest driver for education. Once our infrastructure was put in place, specifically in Grand Island, I apologize, Grand Island, Nebraska, their overall test scores for their K through 12 students increased by 3%. That's the only variable that changed, was having high-speed internet available to those students. Nothing else changed. There wasn't another variable that was a part of the equation. So if you see a 3% increase in test scores from that one tool, you know that that is allowing there to be a universal impact to a community that is much larger than just a revenue-generating opportunity to provide internet, TV, and telephone, but it's actually having an impact. So a little bit on that line of business. Let me move forward to the next one. We have in the last, we launched this in 2020. We are in Nelnet Renewable Energy. And what the focus is of this line of business is working with developers to offer either solar gardens or solar farms, depending on the state. There's different terminology, but basically it's community solar. It allows a individual consumer like ourselves who do not want to have solar panels on their home and have the infrastructure and the materials becoming out of date. You can become part of a solar community where you get the same benefits without having to have the infrastructure on your home. So that has been very successful right now, primarily on the East Coast. New York has the largest presence of that type of environment, but we are recently working with a developer here in Aurora, Colorado, to possibly look at developing one that we could use in spaces maybe like Dad's landfill or the Denver Arapahoe landfill off of Quincy and Gun Club, or probably more effectively Hampton and Gun Club. And that is a lot of space that you can't use that land for many other things. It does have some things coming out of the ground from our trash that makes it not be utilized for a lot, but you can easily put a solar community on some of that land and be able to help our environment in a couple different ways. So solar energy or renewable energy has been an area that Nelnet has been growing in, finding that we overlap. Because basically that would become your power provider that's servicing your account, and that would connect into what we do for student loans. We are used to servicing things. Now we're servicing a different type of thing versus being a student loan. It can be your energy bill, and you also are able to get direct benefit because you're seeing a reduction in the cost to your energy. But of course, that's the only reason to do it. Well, that's not true. Sorry. That you do it to help the environment. The financial benefit is that you're able to see a reduction in your energy bill, which is the benefit that many people like to find for themselves. The last line of business that I'll focus on is also launched in 2020. It is the Nelnet Bank. And this was a new opportunity for Nelnet to be able to provide funding primarily on the commercial side and really become its own banking institution. The opportunities allow us to leverage our relationships in the student loan space, where being able to refinance your student loan and consolidate it for having multiple loans into one loan. That's one piece of it, but it is a full service commercial bank that does do the deposits and allows us to be able to offer other loan services to our customers. We are based for this line of business in Utah. So it is a nationwide servicing, but Utah is where the physical presence is at. And I believe we were the first organization in close to 15 years to get this type of a charter to be able to get started in this particular banking industry. So that gives you kind of a feel of what the different parts of the Nelnet family are, and how even though the primary audience, the primary customer relationship that we have is on the student loan servicing side, and that's where most people are familiar with the term Nelnet. There are many other parts of the Nelnet family, as just highlighted, that are helping our communities in a lot of different ways.
I appreciate that. That was awesome. I'm going to ask a couple follow-up questions, and I'm going to be completely clear about these up front. They're 100% going to be selfish questions that are all about me relating to Nelnet. So,
Perfect. Hmm.
Of course. So my first question, or more of a comment than anything, please keep me updated on that solar farm in Aurora, because when that happens, I'm 100% going to be on board with that. I want to be a part of that, and I want to, and I love the fact that there's that duality of benefit. I mean, yes, we all want to do what's best for the environment, but usually doing what's best in the environment doesn't come with a financial benefit. This one, you get both. You are also helping the environment and you are getting some kind of a small financial benefit. So I think that's super awesome. I'll just ask personally, as you guys start progressing along with that, keep me updated. I can post updates on my Facebook page as you guys get them as well. The question that I have is, when you're talking about the K through 12, is there any kind of opportunities or any kind of loan assistance that help homeschool families that are homeschooling that might still have that religious element as well?
So there are grants that we have offered, scholarships that we would be doing as well. So that would be able to be found through our website. Those are traditionally offered through the school itself. We do fund that. We do help from a funding source for that, but normally they are directly through the institution. So if your institution is offering a grant or a scholarship program and is possibly looking for some help in administering it, and then being able to possibly have some funding coming from the Nelnet Foundation, that would be an option. So kind of a long answer. Let me quickly summarize. There is services that we offer. We primarily offer them as a support mechanism for existing institutions to be able to administer those types of programs. So that would be our primary driver. But then our Nelnet Foundation has chose to provide funding for some of those after we build those up. So I think that from a homeschooling perspective, there would be a connection to some institution for your curriculum and for the materials that you're leveraging. And that would be where maybe talking directly with them about what they might be offering if they feel like one of their hurdles or roadblocks is not having a technology support system or having the tools to administer that. That would absolutely be one of the services that our organization provides as well.
Very cool. The last thing that I want you to touch on before we wrap this up is, because again, this is the softball question because I already know the answer, but I want everyone else to know the answer. What is Nelnet doing to give back to the community? You touched on a few of the programs, but what are they specifically doing as far as contributing back to the community? Is there anything like that they're involved in?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for leading with that question because it is so important to me individually. As a reference, being born and raised in a particular community, you have a significant tie to that. And there are different things you experience that you find a value, and as you get in places in your career to be able to provide that back to the community, you want to do that. So now to BK's question, one of our primary areas of focus in the communities that we live and work in, that's going to be primarily Aurora, Denver, Highlands Ranch, so on and so forth, in the Denver metro area, is we're very involved with the Junior Achievement. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I was thinking JA and I couldn't think of the acronym. Junior Achievement. So as many of you may know, Junior Achievement is when individuals are able to go into the classroom and work with sharing with students about what they do. They also have things called Finance Park, and they have the Junior Achievement opportunities with the Stock Market Challenge. And that is a program that we really find value in helping. It gets us working with our community hands-on directly in our area of focus, which is education, and working with those students. One of the programs I already referenced, but I'll put a little more of a highlight on, is called the Junior Achievement Finance Park. And that allows individuals to come into a physical facility and be able to have a tablet that tells them you are a mother of two, you are a single parent, here is your job, here's how much you make, and now you have to figure out how to balance your budget, how to actually be able to provide for you and your family, from how do you manage your energy bill, cell phone bill, being able to have a car payment, things of that nature. And that program, I've watched light bulbs go off. I have literally seen children realize, wait a second, my mom's paying for all these things, my dad's paying for all these things, or all these bills are coming in and having to be taken care of. It's not just that pair of shoes I want. Even though sometimes in a child's mind, I just want the money for my shoes, I've seen the light bulb where individuals really understand. And one of the conversations I've had with a number of students is that the way that the Finance Park works is there are different businesses that the students go through, and one of them is the electricity. Excel Energy sponsors that particular one, and students will say to me, "I don't need electricity. I'm good." And then we'll talk about how, well, electricity is how you're able to have a refrigerator, to have your items be chilled, or in the winter you have heat for your home. And being able to understand that, saying that you're just not going to pay one bill because you want to make sure you're having your cell phone or whatever it might be, is really short-sighted, and probably not a appropriate solution for most adults to be able to do things like that. So anyway, that was one variable. I'm very passionate about junior achievement, so definitely you can see some of that come through. We also are very involved with the Ronald McDonald House here in Aurora. We provide, prior to COVID, once a month we were coming in and serving meals, and now we're actually just bringing in food. I think with some of the COVID requirements that we haven't been able to physically go in like we were before. We are very involved with the Rocky Mountain Food Bank, and being able to help to actually support physically at their building and do some activities there, but also being able to make sure we're doing fundraisers for food supplies and things like that. Last year, or sorry, well, we'll do 2021. So far in 2021, our Nelnet charitable contributions for specifically Aurora has donated $30,000 to different organizations. So as there has been requests that have came in, those can be things for the Aurora Schools Foundation. We recently did something for them, Boys Hope, Girls Hope, but also even individual Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts programs where individuals have submitted a request to have that come through. So we're doing a lot of things in a lot of different spaces. Our single biggest financial driver is going to be working with United Way. As an organization nationwide, we raised over $1 million last year for United Way to allow that to go to individual programs. Why we're referencing United Way, some of you are probably familiar with being able to dial different numbers. Can't remember if it's 211. I think that might be correct, but it's a line that's able to be utilized at the time of a disaster, like when we've had fires in Colorado and different things. And we've actually donated physical space to allow that call center to be able to be utilized when there has been a need for that. So that is just one of many different things we're able to do. But giving back to the community is one of our core values as a company. So if you're an employee of Nelnet, you would understand that that is a expectation, that if you want to work with our organization, that you will want to also give back to the community. And that can be with paid time, where it's not costing you a penny. We are giving you 8 hours a year to be able to give back to community as you choose to. Maybe it's in your child's classroom. Maybe it's a passion that you have. We have a number of employees who are very passionate about all the different animal rescues and animal facilities in our state. And we have individuals that volunteer at the Denver Dumb Friends League. There is a facility that's by Hudson, Colorado, that has the Wild Animal Sanctuary, I believe is what it's called. And we have individuals that go and volunteer there for their time. So a great softball question, BK, and definitely something that I'm probably not even giving enough justice to, but gave you a flavor of the different things that we are doing in our local community, as well as money we're raising to help nationwide.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for, again, taking your time out of the day. I know that you're very busy and you have plenty of other things you could have been doing. So I appreciate you kind of giving us a high-level overview. If people were interested in learning a little bit more about some of the Nelnet options, what would be the best course of action to pursue learning a little bit more?
Absolutely. So like many organizations, we are having a need for employees. We are seeing that we're having a shortage on our workforce. We're actually hiring 1,100 people nationwide right now. Those are primarily call center roles where you're helping our customers directly, having that direct interaction with our customers. The Nelnet.com or the nelnetinc.com both have an area where you're able to apply and see the jobs that are available. Like many organizations after the pandemic, we have modified our job models where there's not the expectation that you have to come into one of our physical facilities. We have a number of roles that are 100% remote, and they're able to be done from any location within the U.S. We do have government contracts that do require our work to be done in the U.S. primarily. So that is where that stipulation comes from. Even if you happen to be in Canada or other very close proximities, the work does be done in the U.S. for most of our work we do. So a lot of opportunities there. I covered diversification. I didn't spend there's so much of it that I didn't cover all of it. We now have contracts with the Department of Labor of Nebraska and Wisconsin where we are doing a lot of work that's not even student loan related. And a lot of those call center opportunities may be in those places where it's helping the unemployment offices of the different states. We have a contract for, I mentioned Nebraska, Wisconsin, as well as Texas. We are providing support for the unemployment offices. And so a number of the call center opportunities may be in that space, but we have across the board, everything I talked about, Nelnet Bank, Allo, student loan servicing, Nelnet Renewable Energy. I believe we are hiring in all those areas at different levels. So we have technology needs, security needs, because I referenced call center specifically needs. So a lot of opportunities, and I think it's an amazing company. I guess for whatever reason, did not answer one of BK's original questions. Length of time with the company. I'm at 19 years. I will be at 20 years in September of 2022. You don't stay with a company that long unless you truly are passionate what the organization does. And you don't get paid enough anywhere to justify staying somewhere that long without it truly being a passion. One of my very close friends just celebrated 40 years with Nelnet. 40 years of her life with the same company, and that is not a unique story. That is the longest tenured person that we have with our company. But the average tenure right now for the staff is over 5 years, and that is with having a very large population of folks that are working in our call centers. And there's an individual in Aurora who works in our call center. She retired 2 years ago for 35 years. She loved her job and what she did, helping our customers so much that she worked for the same organization doing a very similar role for 35 years. And that to me is amazing. I'm sure a lot of stories like that, but specifically within the Nelnet family, I'm going off track here a little bit. I apologize, but Nelnet started in Aurora, Colorado. That is where the student loan servicing activities under a different name called Unipac actually began. And now we are the largest student loan servicer in the world. So something that started right here in Aurora, Colorado, has now grown to be the largest entity in the world. There is no other entity that services more student loans than Nelnet, which started right here in Aurora, Colorado. So even though our headquarters is in Lincoln, Nebraska, the actual physical starting point for this company was right here. So.
That's awesome. You don't get to be the biggest if you're not the best, is kind of my opinion, because there's so many other options that people could have gone with and they didn't. They went with Nelnet because I've known you long enough and you're an excellent representation of Nelnet. You are the epitome of what I think Nelnet is, and how you deal with me and everybody else that I see you interact with at the chamber events and all the different things. I think speaks a lot to the character and integrity that Nelnet has. So I think that's awesome. Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
Absolutely. And to the rest of you, just my typical call to action. If you know anybody else who's looking to purchase or refinance, but more importantly, if you know somebody who has questions about student loans or any of the other things that we talked about in that high overview, renewable energy, looking for job offers, all of that kind of stuff. I know that Brian is absolutely fantastic, and Nelnet is also equally as fantastic and will take care of you. So thank you guys. Thank you, Brian. And with that, have a great day, and I will probably see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful day.